And thank you so much, Nicole, for reaching out and talking to us about SMRLS today. So I'll kind of give you the floor, take all the time you need, usually 15 to 30 minutes or so. And then we open up for roundtable for agencies to kind of share what's going on during this time of year. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I do have a PowerPoint, so hopefully we usually use Teams, so hopefully I can successfully share that. So just give me one moment.
Yeah, no problem.
Wait, it says that you've disabled. I'm not allowed to share.
Okay, try it again. I thought I guess I unchecked it instead of
There we go. I got it. Thank you. Are you able to see my screen or not?
Yes, I can. It popped up. Yep.
Great, thank you. I have two screens on my office, and so thanks. I know quite a few people on this call, but my name's Nicole. I'm an attorney over at SMRLS. I work in our economic justice unit. It used to be called our government benefits unit. SMRLS covers 33 counties. So I work in our southwestern region. So we have an office here in Mankato, and then we have one in Worthington as well. So we cover 17 counties. So going down to Iowa and over to South Dakota. So there's kind of a list here of the different counties that both the Southwest region serves, and then the rest of the firm as well, since we have offices in Winona and Rochester, Albert Lee, and in St. Paul. Our agricultural worker project also covers North Dakota and Minnesota. So we do have an office in Moorhead as well. We have a healthcare legal partnership with Open Door Health Center. And because we understand that the effect legal problems can have on health issues. So there is a staff attorney that can have an office at Open Door. That position's currently open because Emmy, who was our staff attorney over there, is now working on our intake hotline. So we do have that position still open right now. Patients can ask to speak with the staff on site, or a referral is sent to us, and then we call the patient directly. So it avoids the person needing to call the hotline. Erica Boyer-Kern, who is on the call listening right now, she is our new coordinator of our healthcare legal partnership program, and she's currently on site at Open Door on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if there is a patient that wants to meet, she is available to meet with them if it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we also have attorneys at our the Bethesda Medical Clinic and the Children's Hospital in St. Paul as well. And Erica is the coordinator for those 3 sites.
Nicole.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but you're still on the, you're not presenting on your PowerPoint. It's still on the first page.
Oh, thanks. I might have to do with my 2 screen situation going on right now.
I think you had switched it because originally it was showing the correct screen. So is there an option to select the other one? Because there was one that was like a presentation view.
Okay, let me see. I just closed that. Thank you, Denise. I wasn't able to see anything anymore. So
that looks correct. But I think it switched back to the same screen.
Every time I advance the slide, it's switching. And it won't let me open the presentation view. Let me see here. Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Your presentation view is showing right now.
No, it doesn't even show. It's not even showing for myself.
Okay.
Oh,
that's okay. If you need to, you can also send it to me and I can try to put it up there. Just let me know.
I'm just gonna stop sharing and try this again. I have 2 monitors open in my office, so I'm wondering if that's part of the problem here.
Or else, Nicole, we can see that screen. So if you just want to click down,
Mhm.
if you don't mind seeing all my slides.
if it's easier, I mean, I can see that well, so.
Whatever works for you.
All right, maybe we'll do this so we don't have
Perfect.
to wait. I don't have to waste more of everyone's time,
No.
since it doesn't want to work the other way. So again, we have our healthcare legal partnership at Open Door. So if you have clients you work with who are patients at Open Door, they can ask their providers or the staff there directly if they want to speak with our staff person who's there, which would be Erica now. So there's no fee for our services for eligible clients. We don't do any sort of like sliding scale fee. Sometimes people who are right over our income limits ask if we can do that, and we can't, unfortunately. People can call our intake hotline. That is our hotline phone number. It's Monday through Fridays, 9 to noon and 12:30 to 3. And then, we're closed for holidays. I will give you my direct phone number at the end. It's on the last slide. Don't have clients call me directly though, because I'm just going to tell them to do an intake. But you can contact me if you're working with a client who tells you that they're having issues getting through to us, because I have heard that from people before. So the client will first talk to a screener just to make sure that they're income asset eligible, and then make sure it's an issue we can help with. But to be honest, I think most issues we can at least give someone some advice. If someone calls and says that they're not happy with their public defender or their defense attorney for a criminal matter, that's one of the main things that we can't help with. So we're gonna, refer them, tell them they need to call somewhere else. Criminal record expungements, though, we can help with that. So sometimes it's important for clients to try their best to explain the legal issue. Sometimes the intake screeners will hear, oh, it's a criminal matter, and they'll automatically say, no, we can't help with this, when the person is trying to say, oh, it's a criminal record expungement, I want my record sealed. And that is something that we could possibly help with. So sometimes it can get a little bit lost in translation when someone's trying to explain their issue, and maybe our screener only hears criminal law and then says we can't do anything. So we can usually help up to 125% of federal poverty guidelines, and that's going to depend on the size of the household. We can take some cases between 125% and 200% of poverty as well. It's best just for people to call, and we have a computer program that does all that math for us to know if somebody's eligible or not. And one thing I will say is that we don't make people, I guess, prove it. We're not asking for people's pay stubs or tax returns or anything like that. We just take their word for it. If this is what they say their income is, then that's what we put in our system and base our decisions on. I will say, though, sometimes we are working on a case and their financial situation is relevant to the case, like maybe in a divorce. So we are looking at their financial documents, and if we start digging into it and discover like, oh, this person's actually not eligible for our services, and we actually see the documentation, then we may have to make decisions about no longer representing that person if they are not income eligible. If someone's 60 and older, we can ignore income and asset guidelines and provide services to those people. And we do look at income and assets of the entire household. There's some exceptions there. So if someone's a survivor of domestic abuse and they're still living with their partner and they're trying to get out of the situation, and maybe their partner is the one with all of the earnings and maybe even high earnings, we can separate those earnings from the person that we are trying to help. Similarly, there can be roommate situations where a person may rent a room but share a common area with others, but all of the expenses are kept separate. They may even have a separate lease. So we're able to look at that person as an individual, as opposed to looking at it, looking at it as a 5-person household, for example. And it's going to kind of depend on each individual circumstance when we take a look at that. Eligible persons, citizens, lawful permanent residents, some refugees, asylees, and then undocumented persons in very limited circumstances, and mainly having to do with safety issues, and if we can possibly help them to get, you know, a visa based on being a crime victim to be able to stay in the country. If people are undocumented, most of the time we have to refer them to other agencies. We get federal funding that has a lot of rules about who we can help, and there are a lot of rules about rules that we cannot help people who are undocumented. So we may have to refer them to another legal aid or possibly immigrant law center who does not have those same restrictions. We can help with housing law, family law, consumer law, elder law. We have the agricultural worker project that I mentioned earlier. We have an education law advocacy project. So that can, our agricultural worker project can help with wage issues and housing issues for agricultural workers based on the contracts that they have with their employers. Our education law advocacy project can help with bullying, discrimination, harassment, expulsions, truancy, English language learner issues, and IEP special education issues in schools in our entire service area. Immigration, we are limited in the immigration that we do, partially because we cannot help undocumented people in most circumstances. So a lot of the work we do is helping people become naturalized or becoming citizens, helping people replace, you know, documents that have been lost or expired. We don't help with deportation or removal proceedings. So we have to refer people to Immigrant Law Center or another agency for help with those issues. Economic justice, that's the area Denise and I work in. Denise is a paralegal at SMRLS who's also on this call. And so since that's the area I work in and I'm presenting, I'm going to go to a little bit more detail about it. So we can help with denials, terminations, reductions, fraud, allegations in relation to county benefits, so food support, medical, and cash. Social Security disability applications, appeals, overpayments, reductions, terminations. I would say applications. I know we get a lot of questions about applications since there's really a lack of agencies in our area that can help people with applications. I'm the only person in our region certified right now to help with the applications. We use the SOAR model. So there's a specific process we have to follow to do that. Our other attorney who was certified, she's in a different position now. So we've kind of put our applications on hold for the time being. Plus I have some other high level appeals and things that are going on. So that is something we can help with. We probably, because of capacity, are only going to help in certain circumstances, looking at people who, because of maybe a severe mental impairment or they may have limited English proficiency, we would look at helping them through that process. Or people who are survivors of domestic abuse and may not be able to follow through on the process. As many of you probably know, the Social Security appeal process can be pretty long, but we still are helping with the appeals, mainly at the administrative law judge level. Criminal expungements, like I mentioned earlier, if it's difficult, if the record is causing the person difficulty in finding either employment or housing, one of the areas we really focus on is when people get those background study disqualification letters from Human Services. So they work, you know, at a nursing home, they work at the hospital, and they get the letter saying they can't work there because of a criminal record. So we focus on those cases. We do get the calls where someone just kind of wants their record cleaned up, and we'll, you know, refer them to how they can take care of that, you know, on their own or through other processes. We do unemployment compensation appeals. For employment law, that's about as far into employment law as we get. We do have, a lot of times, those unemployment compensation appeals kind of go hand in hand with someone who may feel that they were wrongfully terminated or they were discriminated against at work. And those are issues that in-house at SMRLS that we don't help with, but we can refer them to our volunteer attorney program, which I'll talk about in a little bit, to see if, you know, maybe there's an employment law attorney who's willing to talk to them. We do work with licensing disqualifications and maltreatment determinations, and that's through the Department of Human Services. So again, those disqualification letters and maltreatment of both vulnerable adults and of minors. Utility shutoffs, although I will say most of the time, a lot of you who are here on the phone are the ones that actually really deal with and resolve the utility shutoff issues by being able to provide the funds to either get the shutoff to, the utilities back on, or the shutoff to stop, by being able to provide that money. Since we don't have money to provide the utility, the most we can do is try to negotiate some sort of payment plan or try to have the utility not shut off. But most of the time it's working hand in hand with some of you to get the bill paid off. And then we also can look at childcare license suspensions and revocations. So people who run a daycare inside their home and it's either suspended or revoked, the Human Services wants to do that to that license. We look at that as an income maintenance issue. If they can't provide that care, they can't earn that income by watching those kids. So we do those types of cases as well. Like I mentioned earlier, our volunteer attorney program, we work with local private attorneys to refer cases. So it could be cases where we might have a conflict of interest. That happens most often in our family law cases. So if maybe we're either working with, or we talk to one parent and then the other parent calls and asks for help, we can't help that second parent. So if we can, we may try to refer them to a private attorney in the area who might be able to provide them advice or to represent them. It also includes cases where we don't have, the capacity or the expertise to handle them. That would go along with the employment cases, the employment discrimination cases, and the wrongful sort of termination or discharge cases that might go kind of hand in hand with the unemployment issue. So our coordinator is Forrest McKnight, and he's the one who sits on the phone and email all day trying to get attorneys in the area to work with these clients pro bono or for free. The legal checkup clinics are something that Denise created. And it's sort of like a medical checkup. There's a lot of issues that we can help with that people don't really realize is either an issue or is an issue that we can help with. So it's sort of like a questionnaire almost that we go through, asking different sorts of questions that can lead us to determining that there are issues going on for a particular person. Before COVID, we had quite a few of these going on, but COVID lessened those. Right now we're doing them at Welcome Manor. And then it helps people to identify their issues, and we can at least give advice in most of these circumstances. And for some clients, we do end up providing full representation to them as well. And we are looking at expanding these checkups again as well. The divorce clinic was, I think, the main clinic that we've had over the years that we've had a lot of clients go through. We help them complete their own divorce. There can be a lot of paperwork that you have to go through. And unfortunately, what we can see is we can advise someone on here's the forms that you have to fill out, and here's, how, if they have questions about filling them out, we can answer those questions. But then them getting them filed, getting them served properly, they end up kind of getting kicked back because maybe there's some technicality in the process that the client didn't follow, or that the person petitioning for divorce didn't follow. And, that gets very frustrating for them, obviously. So we help them make sure that essentially all the paperwork is done. We make sure that it gets filed and then it gets served. What we don't do is actually represent them in court and attend the hearing with them. But we make sure that everything is done so that when they do get to court, that, they're not going to be kicked back out on a technicality. A volunteer attorney, or sometimes one of our law clerks, will work with the person to complete the paperwork and review the paperwork, make sure it has everything that it needs. This is being done remotely right now, and my understanding is it's kind of on hold. I think partly because of doing it remotely, it takes more for the paperwork to go back and forth. We used to do these in person in our offices or nearby our offices. So all the clients would come, we would have the computer set up there, the attorney there, the law clerks there to do everything. So everything is done by the time the person leaves. But since we're doing these remotely, our coordinator Forrest is having to send documents back and forth, so it's taking more time. So my understanding is they're kind of full with a client load right now. But hopefully maybe if we can start doing these in person again, we'll be able to get on a better schedule to help clients more with these divorces in the future. And we do have kind of a limit on who we can help. We're not going to help someone if there's like, significant income, or even assets between the parties, or where child custody is going to be a large concern. It's a lot of times it might be where both parties are in agreement that they want a divorce, or maybe it's a party who hasn't seen their spouse for a long time, and it's going to kind of go uncontested there, and there are no children, no major assets involved. So the best bet is to have people call us if they're having a civil legal issue, and we can, like I said earlier, most circumstances we can at least provide some advice, or at least a direction where someone can go to get some help. So there's our hours again, and people can apply online too. So maybe if they aren't available during our intake hours, they can apply online, maybe put in the online intake box like when they're available, and someone will call them back to finish up the intake and have someone talk to them. If it's a criminal issue, they should go to the public defender's office if possible, or they can, if they have the resources, or someone has the resources for them, they can go to a private attorney who does criminal defense work. If they call and the case is not in one of our counties, so sometimes someone may live in Blue Earth County or Nicollet County now, but maybe their custody case is venued up in Stearns County near St. Cloud. Maybe they haven't been down here that long, or the case is kind of long standing and the other parent lives up there, so that's where the case is located. Then we will likely do a referral to the the legal aid office in the county, because we look at sort of where the case is located, as opposed to where not necessarily where the client is located. The 5th Judicial District, so here in Mankato, they have a self-help workshop where they can they have volunteers who will review documents. That's the first and third Wednesday via Zoom. There is a cost for this. It's $40. And there's some information on there. Ruth Harms, who used to work with SMRLS, actually runs that program, and they can get some more information there. And that can be helpful, especially for family law cases. We get a lot of calls for people who want to modify child support. And that's usually something we don't do unless it's already kind of ingrained in a case we're already working on. So a lot of times we do tell people, here's the forms that you need to fill out in order to modify custody, or to modify child support. And in this clinic, someone would actually kind of look over the paperwork for them that they fill out. Another issue that we don't deal with is taxes. When the economic impact payment or those stimulus payments were coming out, we were kind of trying to educate ourselves in tax law a little bit, which was, reading FAQs on the IRS website for hours was fun, but we are not tax experts, I will say. And the MMLA and University of Minnesota tax clinics that are mentioned here, they can help statewide. So it's not, although they're located in the Twin Cities area, they're not limited to just helping clients who live in the Twin Cities area. So if people call us for tax issues, even here at SMRLS, we refer them to other agencies who just work on tax issues. There are helpful resources at lawhelpmn.org. We give our client, I look at the fact sheets myself if it's an area, especially I don't work in family law. So if I have kind of a question before I go talk to one of our attorneys, I might pull up a fact sheet on there. We print them for our clients all of the time because they are written in plain language without all of the legalese and all of the legal citations. So that can be very helpful when just wanting to give someone a little bit of a background. And they have a lot of sort of sample letters, sample forms and things on there too that they include with the fact sheets, which can be helpful for a client to be able to use. There's court forms and information at mncourts.gov, and then mncourts.gov/forms is where the forms are actually located, but they have a whole self-help section on the court website. And especially for certain kinds of appeals and other issues, they do have sort of step-by-step instructions, like for criminal expungements, on how to complete the process properly. especially since some courthouses have like a self-help center where there's actually an attorney there that you can go talk to. Unfortunately, here in Mankato and in St. Peter, there isn't an attorney at the courthouse to do that. There is a phone number, I believe, that you can find on the court's website to call somebody and talk to them. But if someone walks into the courthouse to talk to court administration cannot give legal advice. So they're better off calling us if they have questions on paperwork and filling out forms or doing the actual like self-help workshop. And there's our contact information, the Mankato office number, my direct line. Don't have clients call me directly. If you have a client with you who wants you to do the intake with them, call our intake number. The staff on the phone might just, have the client verified that they're okay that you're on the phone with them to do it. But if you have like a question about someone you're working with or just a general question, feel free to call me directly. That's the second number there. That'll reach me directly, or you can send me an email as well, and I can respond via email. And that's kind of the end of the presentation, unless there's questions.
Thank you so much for sharing all that information. I learned a lot myself, just kind of going through. I just need to message our IT gal. I totally forgot about switching since we share a Zoom account. Somebody else had taken the access for more than 40 minutes. So I don't want us to get kicked off. So if anyone has questions or if anyone wants to start roundtable while I try to get that sorted, that would be awesome. Okay.
Well, thank you, everyone. I have a deadline today for a Court of Appeals case, so I'm going to log off. But Denise, Denise from my office and Erica as well are still on. If you have any further questions, you can ask them as well. But thank you for giving me a half hour to present today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And take care. Good luck with that appeals.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything to share? Otherwise, we might be able to wrap up anyway. I guess a few updates from MVAC. Our adult dislocated worker program is always looking for more referrals. So if you're working with clients that have been long-term unemployed or recently got laid off from a job, or their unemployment has now ended, variety of other reasons, for sure send them our way. We have a link on our website. Otherwise, they can reach out to myself or the career force contacts, and I can put that information in an email after this. Our senior employment program is also always looking for referrals for anyone who has senior clients who are needing some work experience. So if anyone is eligible, they could possibly work at a community business, and then they'd be paid through MVAC's payroll. So there's that program as well. And in addition, there is also a COVID work experience grant that anyone as well who has been long-term unemployed that needs some sort of a work experience in a variety of different positions. It might be personal care. It could be like front desk help, could be, at a food shelf or at a homeless shelter, a variety of different positions. And Danielle would be the contact for that. So I can share that flyer after this meeting as well. And then I know Karen is on here, so you'll probably talk about the save the date. So I will kind of pass it off.
If you want to talk about it, you can, Emily. You can say it just as good as I can.
Okay, perfect. So we are holding a networking partnership day at South Central College. I can pull up that flyer here. And zoom in. So if you guys want to save the date, I will send this out as well, but it will be Friday, May 20th from 8:30 to noon. We do have limited spots available. So once we get that registration link sent out, be sure to register if you have interest. We're going to have some breakouts with a variety of topics about like adult career pathways, some other programs related to the career force location and what VRS and the state offers, in addition to a couple other agencies. about transportation and whatnot. So more details to come, but if you have questions, you can reach out to myself, Karen, Sarah Kerrigan, Edel, or Marcia Hyam. So I will be sure to include these flyers in the email follow-up. Let's see. Perfect. And then I see somebody has a Head Start update that they will be sending a flyer to me. So I will be sure to attach that to the follow-up email as well. Head Start has started accepting applications for the 2022 to 2023 school year. It looks like, and Katie said we can reach out to her. So I will be sure to include that all in the information with the recording link to this meeting. Yeah.
And I just put in the link for Project Community Connect. There's still a few days
Perfect.
to register your organization for that, although I think that most of your organizations may already be registered, but I couldn't figure out how to pop the flyer into this chat, but I'll send that to you, Emily, and you can share that with everyone and
Perfect.
help spread the word.
Yes,
that's coming
for
up
sure.
on April 19th.
April 19th. Okay. I will definitely get that attached. I'll wait a little bit, maybe even a couple days, just to make sure I've got everybody's documents and can get that sent off for sure. So thank you for sharing that. That's a great resource to a lot of people. So let's see. Okay, and then I do remember getting an email about like Nicollet Blue Earth County website. I see, Mary, you mentioned if you wanted to briefly talk about that. I know we typically refer people to 211 United Way, as they have a very similar platform, but if you did want to share a little bit about that, you definitely can. Otherwise, I can include that in the email.
Yeah, I just wanted, thank you, Emily. I just wanted to say that we work with 211, and they're on the flyout page, when you open up the database, it has 211 right there. But if you all want to take a look at that, it's Nick Blue Cares, Nicollet Blue Earth County. Nick Blue Cares Now is the database. It's Find Help, and it's the same database that Mayo uses. With a little different taxonomy, but it's really nice to list your program. There's legal aid, a bar that you can put anything legal or social work. You can direct people to next steps, how they apply. There's a hotline, and you can even put your screeners on there. So we're trying to really connect seekers and helpers and build a really robust community directory for Nicollet and Blue Earth County. And again, anything that goes into Find Help through Mayo goes into ours. We just organize it a little differently. We're really focusing on belonging and social justice and just trying to put we're all trying to put everything in the same place so that those silos can go away and people can access what they want when they need it. So I just want to encourage you to take a peek at that, either Find Help or Nick Blue Cares Now, and put your zip code in, and there's a little suggest program at the bottom of every page. All you got to do is suggest a program, and the data team will take care of the rest.
Okay, thank you so much. And I apologize again. I will be sure to double check my Zoom access this next time. I see we have less than a minute. So if you have anything to share, please send that to me. I will send out the recording and everything by the end of the week, just so that I make sure everybody that wanted to share something can. Thank you for anyone that's new to this meeting. That's awesome that we keep continuing to expand our view and access to all this information. That's awesome. So I will, like I said, next time I apologize. I will be sure to have that tweaked so that that does not happen again. And I hope you all are healthy and well. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. So have a great day.